right now, right? The combo wombo, the bromance coming out between Doctor Strange and Magneto. It's a likelihood, unless one of them goes ahead to ban Strange out, which is going to be unlikely because I feel like Strange is a nuclear pick from this perspective. The ability to put out shields, fly for 10 seconds, but also portal in for those last minute desperate attempts.
Yeah, we'll see what the adjustment comes in, but for now, Dopamine really like to get rid of the strategist pool. We've been talking about that for most of Marvel Rivals Ignite Stage 1, so nothing new coming out of Dopamine, but then again, they are in a comfortable position. They don't have to go for something crazy. They just have to do what they normally do is, yeah, just do what they do, win the match, and then just cruise on by.
Yep, and Punisher also being taken out from the side of AssembleFire. When you're the judge, jury, and executioner, I mean, you are firing bullets like nobody's business. That laser beam coming out. So we've seen some crazy plays in the last 2-0 in MVM versus AT. So do not want to have to deal with that. Ooh. But okay, locking in the Logan, the Wolverine, I like it. A bit of a mixed play here. Rocco, you know, doing wonders with a great feral leap, perhaps, to be able to kidnap these folks away.
Pick your hero.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, to say the least, how Dopamine play this. But then again, AssembleFire, the pressure is really entirely on them to come out with a win in this current best of 3 matchup. If they want to stay in a comfortable position to at the very least secure playoffs, so they absolutely need to cook, or else essentially it's essentially a cook or be cooked situation, to say the least.
It really is. And you know, people asking why are we banning Mantis? Because of the triple strategist combination that's so strong nowadays. You know, we talk about it a fair bit. We've seen some of it as well. When you can run that Guardians of the Galaxy team up, this basically means that you have almost an endless number of people cocooning their way back into the fight ASAP. So a Mantis ban is quite often seen from that perspective, right? You don't want to give that away. Plus, having a Soul Resurgence online, that's deadly. And there's no point in banning out the Adam Warlock itself because you know, not very good without that triple strategist. But away we go. AssembleFire has everything to do here.
I think both teams are going to look to use the portal. It might be a double portal. We'll see what the plan comes in. Here we go. AssembleFire start things with a portal of their own, and yeah, 0-1 pops the portal, switches over to the Iron Fist. An interesting adjustment coming in as the rest of Dopamine finding ways to get some sort of entry as the site does open up. Both teams looking to get control. They don't have to worry about any ultimates for the time being, which means this is their golden opportunity to just take over the site with raw skill alone. We'll see who will take over, as instantly a 1-for-1 trade from both sides, but Kingdom God wants to make that difference as everyone on AssembleFire just raining down the fire as they will take over the site in the beginning of this game number 1.
Oh, I love that change up, you know, just send a Strange in, change over to an Iron Fist and just dismantle from the top down, a quick pivot onto the site to basically take high ground advantage. But onside with a repeat of their own, they want to challenge the high ground against the side of AssembleFire. Dopamine making up a bit of a fight with flyers of their own, really almost taking over the entire site. It's gonna be Welsh Corgi holding back the advancements in a flip here, and Soulless Soldier will be taken out at an instant right at that top. It's a 1-for-1 trade, fortunately, so this leaves in a 5-stack on either side.
Eternal Bond's going to be popped. AssembleFire just need to hold a little bit longer. Ultimates are available, but 0-1 is just punching his way into another fight. Another fight win in favor of AssembleFire. Dopamine now in a bit of a concerning position right now. AssembleFire already crossing the halfway point. As Dopamine need to find an adjustment, need to find ways deal with this Iron Fist, who almost went down, but thanks to Mafia's Magneto Bubble, was able to just stay alive long enough to win the fight, as the Omega Hurricane, almost perfectly timed, but the Fate of Both Worlds should keep everyone alive and well, unless Mafia might go for a God tier meteor. Only gets a pick onto Felix. There's a multi-man stun onto AssembleFire thanks to the Eye of Agamotto, but Rocco is just going at it again. Might do it again, will do it again, and will finally have Dopamine secure the point for themselves.
I mean, 87% is a comfortable lead so far for the side of AssembleFire. A lot of ultimates expended. I think 3 on either side at the very least. And ultimately, Dopamine were able to get the right trades at the right time with a beautiful meteor dunk onto well, that was Phoenix going down initially, but they were still able to sustain, to be honest. Now taking the fight up top is the double shields, but I think there's one flanker on the right side. Yep, that's gonna be Iron Fist trying to do it right from that corner.
Yeah, tries to find a pick onto the flying Human Torch, but unfortunately wasn't able to do so. But it looks like AssembleFire are able to find a pick of their own. But again, another 1-for-1 trade, as Slow Soldier is going to fight Rocco, and it looks like Slow Soldier will come out on top, as 0-1 is able to pick Felix off of our screen. AssembleFire quick to retake the site, as Slowest Soldier shows no signs of stopping. Doesn't quite land the hook, but Dopamine making some adjustments now. Onse off of the Strange, now onto the Captain America, but can't quite find any sort of control on the site. AssembleFire pressing onto Dopamine. 0-1 cooking on this Iron Fist. Finally will go down, but Slowest Soldier will seal the deal, as AssembleFire are up at a 1-round advantage.
I mean, absolutely ridiculous. We've just talked about the 1-2-3 kind of strat where you leave a single Vanguard, but supported by 3 strategists. And here and now, we get AssembleFire showing us that triple duelist might just work out, you know? Especially when you have 0-1 just being an absolute nuisance in the backline. The adjustments from one set, trying to maybe disrupt the strategists by changing on to the Captain America, wasn't quite fruitful. Just immediately zoned out.
Yep. A little bit of a surprise coming in from Onse, right? Usually at the start of the round, Onse would pop the Strange Teleport in the face, but decided to hold on to it. Probably because they heard AssembleFire's portal going off, and they didn't want to do their usual bread and butter, their usual opening hand of teleporting in their face. And I'm not sure if that was the difference, but it was definitely a stray from what Dopamine had been doing, but they will go back to what they do best.
They do indeed, taking all this forward space, leaving AssembleFire to hunker into these corners at the moment. I'm looking at a huge start, but no picks just to be had yet. Fate of Both Worlds to flush themselves out, taking advantage of all the space that 0-1 have had. Meteor and finds a double, plus Rocco being taken now. Dopamine are in shambles.
Great meteor coming in from Mafia, wiping out both of the strategists on Dopamine, and that was just a quick and easy fight for AssembleFire. They had the ultimate advantage, and they use it gladly, as Dopamine forced back to their own spawn. Need to find a ways, get some sort of access back onto the site. Dopamine, though, do have some ultimates available. Fate of Both Worlds going to be the key ultimate being used, as the Living Chi by 0-1 is going to be popped, but he's going to get bursted down, but still alive, still healthy. Somehow everyone on Dopamine just enters the meat grinder, as the Kraken Impact just going to put everyone at an HP disadvantage. 0-1 doing what he does best, just punching through Dopamine, as the Omega Hurricane not even needed. Felix is forced to jump off the map to just prevent a stagger, and Dopamine are back at square one.
Yeah, Omega Hurricane, that was a little dubious, and I hope they don't get punished for it, because they're in a bit of a lull state now. Hopefully Mafia will be able to build up another Meteor and another game-changing one. We start off with the Supernova, just able to take that forward space, but AssembleFire, they're not even worried about it with the Eternal Bond providing so much support up front against these fire tornadoes.
Yeah, so far, here we go. There's the Eye of Agamotto onto 4. That's going to result in 2 quick picks, make it 3, as Ray is able to clean up and follow up. A great ultimate coming out of Onsei with the Eye of Agamotto. Now it's Slow Soldier's turn to jump off the map to prevent that stagger. And Dopamine, albeit a little bit labored, took a little bit of time, were able to secure the point in this round number 2.
Yeah, and honestly, it was a great combination. You know, they're waiting for their openings, and Rii just attentive for this. And now AssembleFire are being kind of pushed to the corner at the moment. The fight being brought to them. All eyes on 0-1 being an absolute nuisance in the backline. If you can get a strategist out of the way early, that could spell doom for the side of Dopamine.
Oh, if anything, there you go. This fight should be over as soon as it started. Both the strategists gone on the side of Dopamine, and now Dopamine needs to run for the hills, and now it's going to be AssembleFire again, taking this control of the site. But now Dopamine are in a very dire situation. Not a lot of time to work with now. About 20 seconds worth before AssembleFire take a game 1 victory here as 0-1. Trying to stay in the air as long as possible. There's a hella adjustment onto Rocco. But they need to move fast. They need to move now. As 0-1 regroups himself, recollects, but AssembleFire are able to open up with 3 picks. And AssembleFire, they're now on that golden road, that golden path to a game 1 win, and it's looking all but likely as Dopamine cannot get a grip in this game seemingly at all, as they're able to just cruise on by, and AssembleFire up 1 game.
Oh my gosh, this could be such a huge upset. You know, once again, we're talking about Dopamine. We're talking about the team that came through open qualifiers, yes, but has 3-0 to their name so far. And this is the first map that they have lost and dropped in the group stages thus far, given over to none other than AssembleFire, who assembled Fire themselves with a huge pick onto Iron Fist. It's, I think, the first time I've seen Iron Fist being picked for the entirety of a map. Right, that pseudo dive coming out, leading the charge, honestly, and with some great plays coming out from the rest of their team, were able to wipe up shop.
Yeah, Mafia, especially huge props to him, especially in round number 2, which is able, even round number 1 actually, was just able to find the Meteor M onto both of the strategists that were grouped up in the backline of Dopamine, and he was the main reason.
More. Right, they're looking so far.
Whoa,
like
whoa! We gotta stop right now. We got Spider Islands. We got Spider Islands.
Yo, let's go! I love it.
We're starting to see some variety in this. Dopamine.
Yes, you gotta change it up. You gotta keep your opponents off the back foot, and that might be the key for AssembleFire to really put this one away from themselves right off the bat. Wanting to secure a Magneto, wanting to ban Amorphros, nothing too, you know, distinct there. But you know, both sides running the Magneto, and we've seen, like you said, Mafia back on that powerhouse could do absolute game-changing things.
Yeah, both sides decide to lock the Magneto. Both sides also banning out the Emma Frost and the Loki. Both teams just following whatever the other team is doing. But finally, we see a stray in the path, a fork in the road, as one team bans Storm, the other banning the Punisher, as the Mantis locked away for Dopamine.
I like it. I like the changes from Dopamine, right? AssembleFire running that triple duelist with one range, which is your Storm. Taking that away might be a bit pressurizing. Not sure if they have Human Torch under their kind of arsenal, their repertoire, but it's likely from that perspective. And Storm, coming out of season 2.5, such a strong pick, with the Omega Hurricane being able to just do absolute damage in that backline. Both teams now opting to lock in a Mantis. Okay. And okay, chat educated me. Dan, chat educated me. It's to say that, yes, the team up for Mantis is true and blue, but I think what a lot of people are saying is that boost, the damage boost coming out from Mantis is so powerful. Yes, the sustain from a heals perspective is slow and steady, so you might need some burst heals from someone else, but it's that damage boost that really puts them over the edge.
Yep, definitely. And we are finally seeing how both these teams want to approach this. Keep in mind, this is the first time Dopamine in this tournament were forced to pick a map for game number 2, and they opt to go for Spider Islands. We haven't seen this map very often. I think this might be the first time in this tournament that's popped up, at least for the Asia region. This map is just a very vertical heavy map. Another one of those maps where flyers do reign supreme, but there is a lot of terrain to work with. There is a lot of paths, similar to Symbio. So we'll see how both these teams operate their picks. I think 0-1 is back on that Iron Fist as well, but we'll have to wait until we actually get into the game. See if he's gonna pull through with that Iron Fist pickup.
Yeah. And Spider Islands, you know, you might think it might be the same as Midtown in the sense that, you know, that front side is super convoluted, which is exactly what Dopamine want to do. Maybe play against and some further pressure, but there's a lot of escape routes that AssembleFire can do. Plus that middle tower in this first phase is destroyable. So once that's out of action, you know, you won't have that high ground advantage. And eventually Dopamine might be forced back, but not before Onsen makes it a bit more painful.
Yeah. Dopamine go for an aggressive formation. Are playing in front of the bridge that is important for that high ground advantage, as both of these teams just trading yet again left, right, and center. But AssembleFire look to come out on top here as they are able to take control of the convoy and will slowly make progress towards that first point.
Oh, yes. You know, now slowest Kingdom God, you know, not having a storm within their repertoire hops for a semi-flyer from that perspective, but I'm also really thinking about that Galactic Legends that can come in clutch at the right time. It's going to be that backline being worked on.
Yeah, Galactic Legend is actually popped, but the Eternal Bond is available for a quick counter to that ultimate. There's going to be that ultimate trade on set dangerously low, but Ray goes down first. Xenos is going to be the one to open up the momentum as the rest of AssembleFire are going to go crazy, but Slowest Soldier is able to time his Kraken impact perfectly with the Carmack Revival. There is nothing available for Dopamine to absolutely keep everyone alive, and Slowest Soldier just slams that opportunity shut.
Holy, I feel like AssembleFire are reading Dopamine like an absolute book at the moment. Felix, on that Adam Warlock, you see all these players drop, and you are just instantly hunting for where that Adam Warlock is hiding. And so now Dopamine have basically one last good shot to get back on this site and maybe make it worthwhile, starting off with the Legends off, but Soldier immediately taken out. I have Agamotto as well. Fatal Bolt was to sustain everyone in the Meteor M. Will there be a dump? The shields just being able to hold everything back.
Great shield coming in from Onse, able to defend everyone on his team from a devastating meteor, as everyone on Dopamine going to take advantage of what they're working with. They need to take out 0-1. They will do so, and that will signal the fall of AssembleFire for now. Kingdom God jumping off the map to prevent the stagger. A smart move, albeit it does look dumb on your screen, but it is going to be worthwhile in the end.
Definitely. Definitely. And you know, with that early pick on to Slowest Soldier, it was just a bit more hard to sustain their fight, but away we go once more. A lot of verticality, and Felix is certainly trying to abuse a lot of that with those penned up right clicks. Maybe clicking heads, and the spin to win comes out from Rocco. Couldn't find anything, so pops the Galactic Legends. And it's going to be Kingdom God and 0-1 immediately taken out. No duelists to be had.
Great shots coming out of Felix with that right click. Able to and take out a member of AssembleFire who are still looking to get that first point. Onse is going to get taken out by the Kraken Impact, but Slowest Soldier isn't quite able to get the resets. That's the Soul Resurgence is going to keep everyone alive. The Karmic Revival is going to be worth it this time around, thanks to Ray's Soul Resurgence going to be available as Felix is able to laser down 2. And this Adam Warlock is just an absolute beast right now.
It really is. To be able to give Rii a bit of a cocoon effect that we've seen a couple times as well. Right there, sustaining that back line, all they have with this triple strategist. Did I hear a teleport? Yes, we're fighting from the backside at the moment. Overtime has been kind of triggered, and the Meteor M trying to get through the portal, and it absolutely does onto Chewbacca.
Bends through the fabric of space, is able to find a portal kill, a portal elimination as Dopamine are going to hold. They're going to deny AssembleFire from a point in general. As they're that was a great sequence, great recovery in overall from Dopamine, especially down 1 game.
How do you get your portal? How do you get your Meteor M through a portal? That's ridiculous. I feel like you have to like aim. Do you have to aim low for it to like pass through? I've never seen that. That's amazing stuff coming out from the side of Dopamine, right? To be able to just hold things back. Honestly, AssembleFire looked quite solid, especially with their forethought about where some of these players might be, catching Felix off guard with a great Karmic Revival and wiping it out, but couldn't sustain towards the end. Had a lot of great plays, especially Onset, right? Great shields against a Meteor M coming out from Mafia, who had so much value this last map, but not really seeing too much here.
Yeah, this puts Dopamine at a huge advantage right now. They don't even have to go for the first point. They just have to get close to it.
The actual Magneto.
And AssembleFire really need to lock in right now. They're going to go for an adjustment here. No more of that Iron Fist. Will opt to go for the Groot now to just try to just hold as long as possible to prevent Dopamine from moving any further than what AssembleFire were able to cook up. And here we go.
Interestingly enough, AssembleFire don't really want to take this forward space. They're letting basically the first 2 corners be free and easy. Rocco with the shields doing absolute damage. Will they be able to get out with their life? I think just barely. The sustain coming from Solmin, keeping everybody alive as the cart barrels its way through this first phase.
Yeah, they just have to get through the bridge. That's all they want to do. But Welsh Corgi is causing chaos in the back line as Kingdom God is able to find a trade, but right now it's heavily in favor of Dopamine as Ray is just going to click everyone down. Kingdom God still finding ways to get some sort of trade as Felix is able to use the cocoon to get himself up and ready to go as Onse is prepping a trap. Oh no, Mafia, do you see this coming? Can they get it in time? It doesn't look like the counter teleport is going to be used in time. Unfortunately, that would have been really sick to see as Rocco is going to find 1, but now pops the Galactic Legend. But there is Strategist Ultimates to counter that immediately with the Eternal Bond as the rest of Dopamine and AssembleFire go at it against each other. AssembleFire looking to have the advantage for the time being.
For the time being are the keys words as Welsh Corgi just gets into it with an absolute dunk of a series. Onse, Welsh Corgi cleaning up shop. 5k, 6k to boot.
Mafia did some great meteors, but Welsh Corgi says, I'll do you one better in this game number 2, as he's able to find a double of his own. As the Fate of Both Worlds is going to be popped and tried to be desperately moving into the site, but it's not going to be enough. Dopamine looking to make us go the distance. We're going to game 3.
We are going to game 3. A solid defense, firstly from the side of Dopamine, and then a solid attack to be able to just wreck shop. I mean, some interesting plays with some portals and Meteor M, but ultimately it was that team wipe at that tail end to really secure themselves a deal. The last ditch effort from the Luna Snow tried their best, but Adam Warlock with those power up right clicks just doing absolute fire.
Yeah, and great recovery game for Dopamine. They got a little shaken with 0-1
Yeah.
on the Iron Fist, but they were able to quickly adjust. They were able to work with what they had. They go for the Guardians synergy. They go for the Guardians team up, and they were able to get so much value out of that. Felix, he was probably the main highlight, the main man of the show, at least in the first round of this game number 2, just lasering down so many members of AssembleFire, and they just could not handle it. They couldn't deal with it. Felix, though, did mess up one of the Karma Revivals, but was able to make...
We'll want to see how these teams adapt and move along on this symbiotic surface, the hometown of Venom themselves. Right off the bat, no surprise, the Queen of Ice herself is banned out.
Yep, so far it's been relatively the same throughout this entire tournament. Emma going to be contested, so will the Magneto going to be locked in favor of Dopamine. I would assume AssembleFire would want to do the same. Yeah. Unless they deem a different strategist to be more important of a ban, and it seems like that will be the case as the Loki will be taken away from Dopamine's hands.
I feel like AssembleFire, if they go down the route of a heavy Vanguard kind of ban, they may get away with murder, right? Because like, look at that first domination match with 3 duelists and 2 power-hungry kind of strategists to boot. I mean, you take away those shields away from your opponents, this could really open things up, and once again, everyone here can click heads, and if you can click heads, you can wipe servers.
Yeah, and if you're in a situation where everyone knows how to land their shots, it's all going to come down to the micro plays. It's going to come down to who can land a key ability, who can land a key displacement to try to zone, to try to get an isolated pick of some sort. It's what it's gonna boil down to. The mechanics are there. It's just going to be the coordination. It's going to be the game sense. It's going to be these nooks and crannies of these team fights that are going to add up. They're going to make a huge difference, especially in this kind of game where things are happening really fast, and they are going to happen very often.
They are indeed. So far, the map, the hero bans and picks have been the same since map number 2. You know, Storm is back into the ban. Magneto as well as Mantis being banned out for both sides. If I were to guess, they'll either gonna ban out Storm, I think, or Ultron. I don't remember what was the last ban for the side of AssembleFire. But
yeah, so far it's been very similar. Ooh, do they deem it? Oh, what a ban! They realize Felix is an absolute beast on that Adam Warlock. It also denies the Guardians team up.
Yep.
So that will limit Dopamine's options here.
Yeah, but Felix, I mean, kind of similar vibes, to be honest, right? A very attack focus. Sorry, not Felix. Ultron, which Felix has picked so far. We'll have to wait until we actually hit the lobby to really confirm what the compositions are. But I wouldn't be surprised if they really want to rock that Ultron, because the feel is generally the same. You run 3 strategists, and with enough grouping, that heal bot will be able to push out enough heals for the rest of your team, and you just focus on dealing damage. Very similar to how Adam Warlock does. Yes, some differences. Chat, don't flame me, but you get my general gist.
Yep, it's a very similar playstyle. It's more of like a hybrid between a strategist and a duelist. Ultron fits in that category with that Adam Warlock, is able to support the team with, like you said, the healing drone, but is able to just keep on damage. And especially when you get that ultimate, especially when you get Rage of Ultron, it is going to be all the more important for Felix to dish out the damage and just get as many eliminations as possible. But for now, Dopamine on the offensive as AssembleFire. Staying on the defensive, 0-1, just clinging onto a wall. Just gonna wait for the perfect time to strike.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. You know, how much of a nuisance we saw him play that Iron Fist. Now on a Venom, able to do some AoE attacks on this side as they start moving their way onto the point here. Dopamine getting some space with those double Vanguards.
Oh my goodness, look at the damage coming out of Felix. There's no damage fall off on Ultron's left click, so
Nope.
he can stay as far as he wants, and he's able to deal so much damage from afar. But Ray does damage up close and personal. We'll pick up a double, and that surely will mean Dopamine will take early control of the site, but they need to clean up more of these players from AssembleFire. Ray will do just that.
Wow, it just cracked wide open. There was a bit of a stalemate at some point in time, but Ree just split it open like a coconut with some well-placed times, and also the bubble coming out from Welsh Corgi to boot as well. So already hopping on, trying to gain as much ultimate percentage points as possible. But eyes on Felix, that rage from the Ultron might do wonders here. The only one with the ultimate online.
Yeah, Fate of Both Worlds now available on the side of AssembleFire. Everyone on Dopamine need to go on the offensive. Here we go. Rage of Ultron with the Magneto Bubble. That is going to do so much work right now. Felix with a triple. Ray will pick up a double for himself as well. And blink and you miss it. It looked like AssembleFire had a chance to recollect themselves, but no chance given, as Onse is setting up a trap TP.
Oh my gosh. Wait.
Are they going to... Wait. That might cause some problems. It's going to be a huge disruption. Putting the portal at their feet is going to make everyone on... Oh my gosh. My brain is dizzy watching this right now. Welsh Corgi able to find a pick on the Kingdom God, who is probably just as dizzy as I am. 0-1 able to find a pick as AssembleFire are moving forward, as Supernova forced to be popped. There's the Strangling Prison, but the counter Eye of Agamotto will keep everyone on Dopamine alive. 0-1 wasn't able to find the picks that he wanted to get from the Silver Resurgence, from the Fate of Both Worlds, as there is so many particles happening in this convoy, as both teams just absolutely slugging it out, but Dopamine looked to come out on top.
Ray just stepped right up, clean shot with this aerial superiority right now, you know, just awaiting. Yes, the Supernova was countered by some brilliantly placed outs from those strategists, but you just wait those out, you know. If you can sustain, which they absolutely did, you will be able to get that second point, and they're hungry for more. Second time that 0-1 absolutely taken out in the early fights. One Vanguard down, no value to be had. And right now, AssembleFire struggling for answers.
Yeah, they need to find they need to get some ground. They need to get a grip of themselves. They're not finding any sort of room, and they're not going to find anything further. That final judgment is going to get absolutely shut down. Felix doing the damage, dealing the hurt, but there goes Ray, as Felix is able to help clean up. We'll get a double, and Dopamine, something clicked. There was a switch that AssembleFire did not want to pull, and Dopamine are just taking full control right now. They're just putting everyone in spawn. They can't even move out right now.
Yeah, it's so hard, you know, having to wait for those Vanguards to really push out. 0-1 needs to be able to find some value, but it's gonna be Supernova coming out and disrupting this right off the bat. Dopamine trying to do their best to hold this back. It's gonna be on set with the Eye of Agamotto. Not sure if they kill anyone, but Felix with the rage coming out, shutting down Kingdom God. Mafia's out of action so far. Dopamine are looking like a train that's not stopping.
There are no brakes in this train, this hype train. That is Dopamine. They have reached their high. They've reached their Dopamine, just like their team name, as they're able to push on forward. It's so close to that third point. And it is a very fast one, as Ray's just going to keep on going. Is able to deal the hurt. Finally gets shut down. But is it enough? Is that going to be enough? Because there's just too much damage for AssembleFire to handle. Fate of Both Worlds might seal the deal here, as the point moves just a bit further, and it's a quick and easy 3-0 for Dopamine.
Dan, I don't think at any point in time was the cart flipped on the favor of the defense. I think it was forward pressing the entire time. Maybe have stalled, but still in possession of the attackers. I think that was the case. That's insane from the side of Dopamine.
Yeah, that was just it was just easy. It looked so easy for them. Ray just cooking on the Human Torch. Felix is able to clean up in the backline as well. And just that from those two alone is just way too much for Dopamine to for AssembleFire, excuse me, to handle.
I feel like
Now they need to figure out how are they gonna get to that third point? How are they gonna do it? Dopamine have 3 minutes to work with if AssembleFire do even make it to that third point.
Yeah, their best bet here is to force that overtime. This is what they absolutely need to do by getting to that third checkpoint. I'm looking at some of the compositions from the attackers right now. 0-1 off the Vanguard, back onto Wolverine, and letting Kingdom God play Adam Warlock themselves with the Guardians team up happening. You know, we've seen Dopamine run that. Now on the flip side, taking that for themselves and wanting to bring the heat a little bit here.
Yeah, we'll see how AssembleFire take on the offense here. Do they cut right, or do they push forward into the mid lane? Dopamine getting very, very aggressive. You don't see this kind of formation very often, where everyone on Dopamine just staying on forward, keeping AssembleFire from working that choke point, and Dopamine take early control of that for themselves.
I like it. You know, you want to be able to at least cycle through your ultimates, trigger some cooldowns, so you make it a little harder for a conjoined attack. And Felix just doing so much damage from the top. Ree as well as AssembleFire start to get themselves on side, but a slam dunk from Ree finds two on set with a second as well. And suddenly AssembleFire looking disassembled.
Yeah. Kingdom God is able to use the cocoon to keep himself in the fight, but everyone on Dopamine looking strong right now, as everyone on AssembleFire, they should fall back, but the Soul Resurgence is going to be committed on the side of AssembleFire. No strategist ultimates to counter this Mantis ultimate coming out of AssembleFire. Dopamine, they just have to give them a little bit of space, take a little bit of control, but it looks like they're just not going to stop. Everyone on AssembleFire could not get any value out of that Soul Resurgence, as everyone on Dopamine are just taking over right now.
Absolutely gross from this perspective, right? They were actually pushed all the way back, but you know, Welsh Corgi, absolutely fearless, just pushed out right after a sleep, mind you, to retake that space. And that's how confident and strong they have. A lot of ultimates on both sides. It's gonna be a bit of a rap god moment for you, Dan, as I'm not sure if I can keep up with what, 10 ultimates on board.
Yes, so many ultimates available for both sides. It's going to be a party in here. So many particles flying left, right, and center. 0-1 is going to find a bit of damage right now. Galactic Legend as well as the Soul Resurgence is going to be used. AssembleFire get an early pick, but is it going to be enough? Dopamine need to hold, need to keep going as Mafia tries to get a meteor down, but isn't able to land or hurt. Welsh Corgi finds the Mantis, but the Karmic Revival is going to be committed here, but no one on Dopamine are going to go for it just yet. 0-1 is going to find 2, and finally some signs of life coming in for AssembleFire, as they're going to be able to secure the first point at the very least.
Oh, it was real tight, real close, but you know, 0-1 hopping back onto that Human Torch might have been the difference here. A bit of more verticality. Slow Soldier a bit slow on those footsteps, immediately taken out by Felix, and this is allowing Ree to put back onto the advantage. A slam dunk through the portal. Mafia caught off guard, and suddenly AssembleFire had the momentum, losing so much of it right now.
They're making their way back right now, as 0-1 is able to secure a second for AssembleFire. Is able to get some damage with the dive, but it might have been a bit of overzealous, as he is going to get taken dangerously low, as the Mantis is able to just clean up house for the time being. Everyone on Dopamine needs to run for the hills. They can't afford to be staggered a bit longer. Head dinks coming in left and right, but Felix with the Rage of Ultron is going to force AssembleFire away for just a bit, but the Soulbound is going to help with the survivability of everyone on AssembleFire. 0-1 will take full advantage of that, but here comes the meteor. Will it land onto an important target? It's gonna try to be landed onto the Cloak and Dagger, but it's not gonna quite land the mark, as Welsh Corgi just needs to stay alive right now. Will find a pick onto Kingdom God, who has the cocoon and will get himself to safety to pop it. But Welsh Corgi does not want to stop, as him and Rocco are able to secure 2 eliminations. Ray gets 2 more. We'll get 3 more, in fact, as AssembleFire forced to start over from square 2, I guess.
Square
they
2.
got first, so square 2.
Square
Yeah,
2.
we'll say square 2.
We'll say square 2. I like that, right? As they come back full force at the moment. They are starting. They have a few ultimates in hand. I'm looking at Chabakyu with the fate of both worlds that could come out, but it's gonna be Magneto with the meteor and finding no value. Great block as well from Onse, coming out with an Eye of Agamotto to shut down that back line. The Karmic Revival tagged once again, but managed to sustain with all this strategic ultimate sustain.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I really thought they were just gonna wipe the floor. That Karmic Revival wasn't gonna get any sort of value, but in the end, they were able to find it. AssembleFire will keep fighting in the end. Both Human Torches will find a trade as Rocco pops the Soul Resurgence to have Dopamine charge forward. Chaba will get picked away as the rest of Dopamine going for the offensive, going for the press. 1 minute left for AssembleFire.
I feel like it's been so brawly right now. I feel like this team fight has never stopped, especially with Rocco getting an early pick onto their counterpart. The cocoon effect does come out, allowing this team fight to continue in this 6v6, but they'll have to come up from this choke point. You know, the fire's on the floor, just trying to deny everything. Rage of Ultron immediately popped to be able to take all this space, but Zero even things out on the chase against their counterpart. Rei will be dropped. Finally, 0-1 finding so much value on the backside, hunting Magneto, who sustains in the nick of time.
Yeah, 0-1 needs to be the difference here. He's doing so well right now, but can't quite land the shots on the Felix. Will finally hit the mark as Welsh Corgi, I think, is the last remaining member of Dopamine on the site for the time being, as everyone on Dopamine need to regroup, need to back away for now, but AssembleFire, they want to keep the stagger train going, and they will do so as they find a pick onto Solman. But AssembleFire, slowly but surely, they're moving into the site, but the time has expired and the overtime has started. So
that's
now the Desperation Portal going to be used. But can they land the hurt? Can they do enough damage as Mafia needs to land his meteor? Lands it onto both strategists yet again. He did it in game 1. Will come back in game number 3. As AssembleFire will secure the second point, and Dopamine, they just have to hold for a little longer. 1 minute, 30 seconds.
The dream is real. They can push the distance. There is time disadvantage, but the Hopium is strong at the moment, taking all the space. Mafia's feeling it, being the sole, vanguard to be able to boot back to the 1-3-2 kind of composition. But here we bring the heat with the Supernova into this kind of covered zone. Slowest Soldier and Xenox immediately wiped. Mafia as well, and finally AssembleFire run scrambling back to their spawn. Dopamine finding some heat for themselves.
Great play coming in from Ray, able to find the opportunity, confident in that he will land those shots. Goes for the aggressive play, gets value out of it, but Mafia and 0-1 team up to get one. Rage of Ultron going to be used by Felix, will find himself a double, might even find a triple, as everyone on Dopamine needs to push on forward, but the sustain needs to be there, it needs to be perfect, as another trade coming in. Karmic Revival going to be popped by Kingdom God on AssembleFire, as everyone on AssembleFire still alive, still going. Ray somehow got to the back line. Does he get spotted out? I'm not entirely sure.
The best plan
He's
here is
still
to
up
just
and
hide
going.
and wait. You just gotta hide and wait for the rest, wait for Onsen to take the heat, draw all this attention, and maybe come from the back. But we're gonna start with the Galactic Legends up high in the sky from the side of AssembleFire to be able to rain pressure. Onsen with a great Eye of Agamotto, but the sustain from the Fate of Both Worlds is beautiful. It's too much to handle though from this. This site, it just wipes the floor.
That's it. They can't do any more. Onse with a clutch Eye of Agamotto lands onto 4. And that was the difference. That was the game-ending ultimate. Onse coming up huge to prevent AssembleFire from forcing an overtime situation.
breaking that momentum was so important. There was so much convoluted 1v1, 2v2 scrappy fights in that second phase, but then suddenly it looked like AssembleFire were on their choo-choo train moving forward despite all the pressure that, you know, dopamine were adding to them, and it was right at the tail end. We're coming on with a clutch Vanguard ultimate, a perfect Eye of Agamotto, so much sustain to be able to just wipe the floor, and it was a lovely fairy tale. It would have been a fairy tale ending, but this is real